March 22nd, the principle of self-support. In our addiction, we were dependent upon people, places, and things. We looked to them to support us and supply the things we found lacking in ourselves. Basic text, page 70 to 71. In the animal kingdom, there is a creature that thrives on others. It is called a leech. It attaches itself to people and takes what it needs. When one victim brushes the leech off, it simply goes to the next. In our act of addiction, we behaved similarly. We drained our families, our friends, and our communities. Consciously or unconsciously, we sought to get something for nothing from virtually everyone we encountered. When we saw the basket passed at our first meeting, we may have thought, self-support? Now what kind of odd notion is this? As we watched, we noticed something. These self-supporting addicts were free. By paying their own way, they had earned the privilege of making their own decisions. By applying the principle of self-support in our personal lives, we gain for ourselves the same kind of freedom. No longer does anyone have the right to tell us where to live because we pay our own rent. We can eat, wear, or drive whatever we choose because we provide it for ourselves. Unlike the leech, we don't have to depend on others for our sustenance. The more responsibility we assume, the more freedom we'll gain. Just for today, there are no limits to the freedom I can earn by supporting myself. I will accept personal responsibility and pay my own way today. I'm Herb the Addictaholic. This is just for today. I started at a young age thinking that I have this. I've got it on my own. I don't need you. I don't need anybody. Speaking to my parents first and foremost, and then I would branch that idea off to the rest of the world. So I run away at 15, and I would live off a friend's house, on their couches, 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there. I'd overstay some welcomes. I lived with a girlfriend or two for a while. I would sleep on the grocery store roof, so I could hear the bell in the morning and get to school. Not necessarily to go to class, but because that's where all the friends and the drugs were, I'd sleep in like my family members' cars. I'd go to my aunt's house and sleep in her car overnight because if at least if I got caught, it's somebody that knew me. Different things like that. But I thought, I had it on my own. I don't need you. I don't need anybody. Then it got to a point where, I got out of high school. I took an exam that got me out early, kind of like a GED, but before you turn 18, but it's basically the same thing. And now that I'm done with school, no one's telling me to go. I'm like, now I want to go to school. So I started going to college. And then I went back home because now I'm going to college and, I'm 18, 19. And I'm like, hey, Mom, can I live here again? And she's like, yeah, but you need to get a job. I'm like, well, I'm going to school. And she's like, well, that's not enough. You could have went to school years ago and you decided now you want to go to school. She's like, you need to get a job. And so, F you, I'm going to join the military. I don't have a life, so I'm going to go give my life to the government. And I got this on my own. I'm going to do this for me. I could control all this, and, I'm an independent person. And so then I went to the military. And for years, I was taken care of by the government. They held my hand. They told me when to go to the doctor, when to go to the dentist. They told me, how to pay my bills. They paid them from my check before I even got paid. Anything that I incurred that was debt related, I had to add to a system in which, the military would pay those bills to make sure I didn't go into debt. Or fall back on my debt because that looks bad on them. So, they really hold your hand in the military. But I didn't consider any of that then. I thought I was independent and doing this all on my own. But the problem was I was codependent. I did earn some money. I did earn my way. I did think a lot of my actions were justified because of the work that I had put in. But what I didn't think about was the fact that I needed to be handheld along the way, that I would only earn when I was told to earn or if I had no other choice, but I didn't have the freedoms that I needed because it was kind of an indentured servant, so to speak, and when I got out and I started a normal job and I met my wife, I was a servant to her and she would pay the bills. I would just get the money, give her the money, take my allowance for my drugs, my alcohol, my cigarettes, weed, meth, whatever it was that I was buying on the side. But I wasn't making the car payments, I wasn't making the rent payments. Like, she was taking care of all that. She would tell me when to go to the dentist, when to go to the doctor, you know. And I wasn't my own person. I didn't have the freedom because I wasn't really earning my way. I was just doing enough, and it was only because I was pressured, pushed, and forced to do so, you know. So now, today, I go out on my own, and I venture in my own to take on extra tasks, to learn new stuff, to do some overtime for a little extra money, to go on a vacation, you know. Like, I can plan for these things and save up and, you know, basically earn the things that I want, or the things that I want to do for other people, which is really where I put most of my excess anyways, into making my family happy and helping other people out wherever and however I can. And that's earning my way, and that's a sense of freedom that I can never trade for anything. Thank you guys for listening. I know this was a little longer than usual, but either way, I want to see you tomorrow. Keep coming back. Works if you work it.